is 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, please. Roll call.
Here.
Branch.
Yes.
DeVoe.
Here.
Debbie.
Yes.
Adam Edmund.
Here.
And Mayor Norman is absent.
Pledge allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the entry, back there on the bulletin board, please. It's also available in handbook form and at the website available on our agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for the January 28th regular session meeting, please? Oh, excuse me, and the 29th.
I'll make a motion.
Two of them. Never mind, there's three of them on there. Can we include all three?
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve all three. Second.
In a second?
DeVoe.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Branch.
Yes.
Debbie.
Yes.
City reports, three.
Yeah, Tim Schultz, tree report, plowed snow, took some trees out of the cemetery, broke a plow, fixed the plow, got the 07 Ford into the shop, it's getting fixed, took the dump truck down yesterday. You should have got the email they sent
Okay.
for the tow, well, it's there, there's $4,000 I think, got a short somewhere in it. Dug a curb stop for water. That's about it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Park and cemetery?
He doesn't know.
I'm Kevin, it's gonna be show and tell for me tonight. Been doing a couple things, some things been on the radar for a long time, and they're trying to start to wrap up and everything. We got some signs made. This was my baby from like early winter, so this goes down, it's turned to the park. There's first and golf sign, they're very illegible right now. So we have this made, it's going up probably very soon. We had some ride at your own risk, mud at your own risk, motocross at your own risk, and we'll leave some at the ball fields, play ball at your own risk at times. And then also, there's a bunch of crosses up at the cemetery that are dilapidated and falling apart and everything. So I talked with John Jones up at the high school, asked him if he could fabricate some solid crosses. He did a lot better than my ID and everything. So he's in production with the kiddos right now to produce 30 of these to start off with. With that being said, there's a bunch of unknowns up there, and there's also some known soldiers and everything. So as we start planting these and finding out the unknowns, the knowns, and everything, we'll be able to get names on these. And they're gonna be a lot more durable, where if you hit them with the mower, it's gonna hurt the mower. So we have to be very careful there. Community building, April was able to meet with John Wolford, and there's some corrections it's gonna do with the company. I'm not sure when that's gonna be scheduled, but they're gonna address that issue. There's also some ceiling tiles in the community building that need to be replaced, and I talked with Fisher Construction, and they're gonna bring crew out, scaffolding to put the ones up on the stage, and then they're also gonna repair the ones by the bathrooms and in the bathrooms themselves and everything. I want to give a shout out to Roger, who's not here tonight. He bought the flag for the community building up there. Shout out to Jody Bass, she bought the light for the cemetery flagpole. That one got beat up by the elements and everything, so she bought that. And some other folks in the community who don't want to be named that just want to give shouts out to. Me and Augie are going in for an applicator testing to become non-commercial applicators for herbicides and pesticides. We will be taking class this time. We have been studying the material. So hopefully after February 27th, we'll both be licensed to do applicating. We're going to be doing a story training in April. It's going to be in Gearing. We spent lunchtime at the villa patching up their ceiling because their insulation is falling down, and we didn't want to repeat it. I guess it's 2018 when fire lines froze and flooded out the south wing down there. We've been removing and installing ballards around the park down here. We're also going to do the same thing up here at the ball fields. They're dilapidated eyesores and everything. We've been doing some irrigation additions in the park because the we have irrigation, there shouldn't be brown spots, so we can add lime and add sprinklers. We have all the equipment and everything. I also want to give a shout out to Augie Taylor. You know, I did his evaluation today, and he is a very solid guy, and I think the city's lucky to have him on board. Other than that, I'll keep it short and sweet. Thanks, guys.
That's good.
Good evening, everyone. Let's see, it's been just so busy, at least for me. I'm never bored at the library, that's for sure. But in addition to some really exciting upgrades to the computer lab and the meeting room that's making a lot of progress, it was a really good month in January for visitage. Everybody seems to have come back home from the holidays. We had 470 visits, to include event attendances as well, which were pretty few in January. So we also saw 68 computer users, so the computer lab is getting its use out of it, certainly. We circulated 273 physical materials from here in the library and 206 digital ones through Libby. The materials that were added were 3 individual items, and then 21 were removed, largely due. I'm trying to find the ones that are beat to almost pulp, so trying to get those marked for replacement or what have you. As far as events goes, there's been 7 events since my last report, and there was a total attendance of those of 154. And that includes Sunday's Gumbo Pioneers History Talk presentation, which was really awesome, and I hope everyone can make the next couple as well. Upcoming events that we have, the Chamber Roundup is going to be tomorrow, and I know we've got some local talent as the guest speaker, so that's exciting. And then I will be attending that, but the library will remain open thanks to the grace of some wonderful volunteers who are going to hold down the fort for me. On Friday this week, on Valentine's Day, the Friends of the Library are hosting a Valentine's party, complete with sweets and treats and some music, so that should be a good time. On President's Day, February 17th, the library will be closed, but I'm going to use it as an admin day to try to knock out some of the projects that I've been chipping away at. Elsewhere, next week, Tuesday the 18th at 5:30, the newly formed Crawford Serving Humanities group will be meeting here at the library at 5:30, I said, yep. Then the next city council meeting will be February 25th. And February will conclude at the library with game night on the 28th, and that will start at 4 p.m. So in addition to our existing collection, we've got some new games to add, so it should be fun for all ages type of event. The Friends of the Library will meet the first Tuesday in March at 10 a.m. here at the library. The Chamber will meet again, and the first Friday of March at 10 a.m. here at the library, the Reading Group will meet. And if you haven't been to that, it's actually pretty cool, very low stakes. You don't have to have been reading what everybody else is reading. We're just sharing what we have been reading in the meantime, getting ideas for our next reads. And then lastly, Sunday, March 9th at 2 p.m. at the Fire Hall will be the second installment of the Gumbo Pioneers presentation about the Moody family. So we're very excited about that one. I'll move on to library projects. I have an exciting update about our computer lab. I have recently secured the licenses for Microsoft Office for the 4 workstations in the computer lab. So that's been an area that's been lacking for our community for a very long time, and it feels really exciting to kind of catch up with the times in this way, for people to be able to use things like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and the like. So after several months of research and collaborating, and then several weeks of processing, I was able to secure those for a total of $160 at $40 per machine. One-time install price, so there's no subscription, it's one and done, and it's with the current most version of those programs. So that just came out in December of 2024. So they won't come out with another suite for probably 4 to 6 years. So we're on the cutting edge there. But those suites market value is at about $1,980. So that's a lot more than the $160 that we ended up paying for. So I appreciate everybody's patience as I did all the research to find the right way to go about that. The other project is regarding kind of additional support in the library. The last year and a half has seen some pretty dramatic increases in utilization of the library, attendance to its programs, and people making use of the services that are available here. And simultaneously, while all the day-to-day stuff is going on in the library, I've also undertaken several projects such as accreditation with the state, community needs response plan, grant writing, IT upgrades, developing the library environment further, and collection development, just to name a few. And there's a lot of smaller projects within each of those as well. So as the library board of trustees and I look ahead, it's apparent that additional support is growing increasingly necessary, especially as the summer reading program approaches. The summer is usually our busiest time of the year, and to accomplish projects alongside day-to-day operations is very busy, and it's a delicate balance that often one scale gets pretty loaded versus the other. But with that, the board has thus directed me to forge ahead with the process of seeking that additional support as budgeted for our department. In previous department head reports, I've touched on the updates to the job descriptions that the board and I have been kind of working on, namely changing the position title for the part-time position from assistant librarian to library aide to better reflect the type of support that's needed, and then the duties have been updated likewise. Going forward, I will be working with the city and the board to get the ball rolling in this area so as to best serve the Crawford community. Unless anybody has any questions for me, that's all I have tonight. Thanks.
Marshall?
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Edward. We've been pretty busy up in the water plant lately. We did get high service pump number 3 installed today. We had JCI come out. They did modify all 3 pumps so that we will be able to install them in the next coming month or so. We did run into an issue with the power, however. We were throwing a what is it?
Over limit.
Over limit code. It'll run for about 5 minutes and then it trips itself out. We do have Jared coming up tomorrow at 10 o'clock to continue troubleshooting that. He was up there till about 4:30 this evening as we were continuing to try to shoot that. We did get good flow while it was running and everything is connected tight. We do need to modify some bolts to get the rest into the very top, but we have a plan to get that taken care of tomorrow morning. In other news, we are working on the emergency response plan. That is due. The state sent us an email saying they wanted that ASAP. I did ask them if we could get that done by the end of the month. We are going through that and updating everything that's in it and making sure that it is all current procedures. A lot of the procedures that are in there are old procedures for a different time. We now have a generator that's connected to the building. We need to know what the steps are to step through that, and then we have a different generator at the infiltration gallery, so we need to work with the steps on that and possibly troubleshoot the connection point. Not 100%, we do need to get it up and running first. We are having some issues with that. On that note, we got an email from our generator service provider. We do need to update our plan. We did also get a review. We got our last maintenance report with it as well. Of the 3 generators, the generator in the water plant and the sewer plant are operating fine. Everything is looking good. We just need to top them off with gas. We're going to do that tomorrow. Diesel, sorry. Diesel. Petrol of the proper standards. The generators both fired up this morning at 8 o'clock. They ran for an hour and they shut back down. Everything was good. As for the generator in the infiltration gallery, we are having issues getting it started. At first it was a dead battery. Now we believe that the starter has gone out. We have reached out to the company. We just need to evaluate our service plan with them, and then I think we can get them out to troubleshoot that generator for us. But again, we're going to need to take a good hard look at that and make sure that we can hook it up to the building, that we have all the steps and processes so that we can also add that into the emergency response plan. Hawk came out and they did servicing on 3 turbidity meters and 2 controllers on the 24th of January. We do have 1 control unit and 1 additional turbidity meter that need their service plan either re-upped, or we're gonna need to buy the equipment to start maintaining that ourselves. As well as we have a new chlorine tracking unit that we will be installing, and it'll be up and running by April 1st. And that will help get it on the same rotation as our other equipment, so that our tech's only coming out, you know, once every quarter or so. What that'll also do is it'll kind of stagger the bills a little bit. So if we continue to stay on the service plan, we'll have our bills kind of spread out a little bit instead of hitting us all at the same time. But we can get all that information for you guys if you need it. All right, future plans. We do have plans to get high service pump 1 and 2 back in. High service pump 1 and 2 removed and replaced with the new pumps. We do have a tentative date of the 19th to get the wires pulled that we need for pumps 1 and 2. The goal is to have them installed by the end of the month, but this is pending what we find out with pump number 3 tomorrow and in the coming days. So once we get that one up and running flawless, we should have very few problems getting the other 2 installed, mounted. Everything is going good. We just needed the problem was the bolts were not properly spaced with the other bolts. They were about ½ inch off. We just increased the diameter of the holes and added a couple washers, and boom, everything bolted in just fine. We had enough play to get that all done. We do need to update our O&M manuals to reflect the new pumps that are installed, and we need to start combing through all of the equipment that we actually do have. This is going to be a long and tedious process, but we do want to have it not only hard copy so that we can carry it around and look at it, but I wouldn't mind it being digital so that way we can use our phones to be out in the shop troubleshooting without having to take a whole big binder of paper into a watery environment and have to replace that at all. And then last is corrosion control. We are still working with corrosion in the plant. We did blow out a air relief valve in the plant that had only been installed for about 6 months. We do believe that it was excessive corrosion that caused a pin to fail and caused that to start flowing. We did take it down, we did take it all the way apart, we do our parts on order. We did ask to see if they have more robust parts, but we will see what we can't do. We should be able to rebuild that fairly inexpensive and get it put back in. We did talk with Jared today about some of the corrosion issues and the electrolysis problems we believe that we're having. We talked to him about our sacrificial anode. I did see that it was on the agenda. We were discussing whether or not putting in an actual grounding rod, something that's more permanent, something that will be that'll hold the test of time, not something that we have to dig up every year and maintain. We did also talk about the materials that were used on our current system, how the solid copper wire is probably not the best. We should probably be using a slightly smaller wire that's braided if we're going to go with that. Also, the switch that we have to disconnect that system is grounding out to the whole system. So we don't believe that it's actually doing what it needs to be doing, and therefore it's eating a lot of the material in our plant right now. I did go to the AWWA website and look up some corrosion for water plant systems. They do have a 15-hour course, about $415. It is a stay-at-home course, can be taken online. This is something that I think should be kind of at the top. We need to get a lot of corrosion done in the plant, like a lot of corrosion treatment, a lot of corrosion prevention. But this will also give a better understanding of corrosion that's going to be in the pipes in our system and what we need to look out for with the lead and service, the lead and copper problems that we have been dealing with through the EPA. So we do have that on the line. What else do we have? We did get Fire and Ice to come out. Fire and Ice did install a heater in the chlorine room. They installed a heater in both offices of the sewer and the water plant. We did get our overhead heater adjusted and fixed in the workshop. We are just waiting on a quote for the heaters in the infiltration gallery and the south wells. We have been going out there. We have been fiddling with them. We have been getting them lit. We have been checking them a lot. We're just spending a lot of time going back and forth trying to make sure everything is lit up. So, okay, we talked to him on Thursday, he said he would get it to us Friday, but I never saw that. Excellent, good stuff. We did ask him about the dehumidifier in the confined space where our emergency service pumps are. He said probably something that can deal with 150 square foot, probably something that we could buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or off the Granger website. As soon as we get our account, all settled up with that, should be fine. We're looking in the area of probably $350 to $250. So we would get a little bit more of that research done and get that quote sent to you hopefully for. You guys have any questions for us?
Air compressor, what's the status of getting a quote for a new air compressor?
For a whole brand new air compressor, we haven't gotten any words back on that.
We have some quotes, we just are getting more comprehensive quotes, so that more than just one.
All right, I would like to see that on the next council meeting if we can.
We'll have it there.
All right, now we'll pass off to Dennis.
Real quick, Roy, what did you have?
You mentioned the one, maintenance program or something for the chlorine, whatever, versus having your own equipment.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a cost difference on what it costs to have somebody come in and do it versus us buy the equipment and always be able to do it?
We do. We did put a quote together for all of the testing and equipment that we would need to maintain those units ourselves. The big thing we get from the service program is if we do the maintenance wrong, or if we miss a step, or we crack these vials that are in there, we flood out a $20,000 unit. If the technician comes out and does that, they replace that unit for free. That's not a cost that we have to eat. It is something that we have been working with him though. We have been taking notes and we are working with him to make sure that we know how to step through this. And the plan is to get the equipment to do it ourselves within the next 12 months, absolutely.
I'd like to see you keep an eye on that.
Yes, sir. No,
That's
no,
money
for
in the
sure.
bank.
Yes, absolutely. We have been having issues with our turbidity meters. We're getting a little bit of material in our lines. So we have been working with them and getting a lot more used to them. Well, there's two big parts. Is one, they'll replace any equipment that gets broken or that they break. The second thing is that they can do updates that we cannot do. They can actually go in and they have the passwords to get into the machine and update the firmware. We can update the software via a gig stick over time, but we might have to end up calling them out for a service call probably every 5 years anyway. But yes, we are looking into that.
I'd just like to see the difference in price, because I think there could be some savings there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there's probably a chance of maybe you doing something wrong, but on the other hand, you're qualified people, you shouldn't do anything wrong if you learn from them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Can I ask, on the generator,
Yes, sir.
how long has that one been down, the one at the infiltration gallery?
That's a fantastic question. I cannot.
I'm gonna say about 6 months.
Okay,
And,
and what are we waiting to check on to
Okay,
see
get on
if
that.
it's covered or not? Is that what we're waiting on? You said that we're looking
We
at something with
we
the
reached out to
contract.
them. We have a contract that we would need to re-sign in order to get them to come out.
It's a yearly contract.
So
so it's
how long
not-
have we needed to re-sign it, or when is the date?
It's
that
not
we
due
have?
till the end of May.
Okay, so, I guess, it's been down for 6 months, we had a contract, service contract.
Correct,
come
but we
along.
haven't used it for 6 months and we didn't know that it was down for 6
How long
months.
have we known it's been?
Probably 2 to 3
Weeks?
months.
No, I wouldn't even say that long. Maybe right before Thanksgiving.
See, and I was thinking just after Thanksgiving, but yeah,
Maybe
somewhere
just
right
after.
around there.
I guess it is February. Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so, then also, speaking of corrosion, have we looked into the dehumidifier for the pit?
That's what
he
he
mentioned.
Yeah,
mentioned. He just mentioned it was gonna
Okay.
cost between $250 and $350.
Okay, I misunderstood that.
These are
part. Where that was.
that's just an assumption. I haven't done the research onto that, but we did reach out and talk to the fire guys when they came out and we got.
Okay, I apologize, I thought you had said a heater side.
Well, no, they did the heaters for while they were out.
Yeah, I thought you said a heater for the pit, and that's why I was asking about the dehumidifier, so I apologize, I misheard. So, okay, so we're good, as far, do we have a response time, or like how long is expected to hear back on the generator for the infiltration gallery, like expected time for them to respond, or do we have to get that into
They have
hybrid, or what is our plan?
they have a quote for us what's the word I wanna say? The contract, to re-sign the contract.
But we
They have
can
a
fix
quote
it
for that.
independent of the contract, is what I think what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, we could potentially, and we haven't explored that option
Okay,
far
so
enough yet.
we need to make that.
Yeah.
Is the contract that we currently have, is it expired where we have to renew a contract for them to come out, or I guess?
I don't know that for sure.
That's what I'm curious about. I
And
know
We
that
got the email Monday.
So you said we had coverage away, right?
I think so.
That we
That's what I
renewed.
thought.
I'm not 100%
Okay,
sure on
so
that,
we
but I
just
think
need
so.
clarification on that.
Yes.
So,
Does that even plug into that building?
We're not sure.
That's what we're not sure.
I don't
We
think
may
it
have
does.
it.
We couldn't even get it fired up, so that wasn't a step that we took to look
I
into.
don't think it does, and I think that there's gonna be quite a bit, that's pretty antiquated, electrical service in that building.
Well, there was
It has to be
we
upgraded.
had kind of kicked around the idea of maybe getting something put out there permanent like we have in the other buildings, but I don't know if that's the best idea.
So that generator was bought, it was a used generator that they bought to get by when you guys also bought the permanent one that's now installed up at the water plant.
Correct.
And then the plan was, cause this portable generator is a higher hour machine, and it was discussed back then, and this is what, 3 years ago, Ronnie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the plan was is that the portable one would then live out there, so, but I don't think that the steps have even been taken to make sure that that generator even hooks up to that.
No.
No, not at all. That is something that I read through and was like, we haven't stepped through this. So our plan with the emergency response plan is not just to update it, but also to go through the steps and make sure that everyone who's involved in the whole step program knows that we'll be calling on, make sure all their contact information is up to date, and that we're 100% capable and ready to step through these steps if and when we need to implement them.
And we have been talking about this for the last 2 years. The problem is the prior administration thought that it was, more useful to have that generator available to pull over to City Hall for some reason and hook it up to there if the power was out, and that's why that never got taken out to the infiltration gallery until just a couple months ago.
Yeah, I
It's out there.
know that for sure. I've used it multiple times at the sewer plant.
We've got one more, Brian.
I maybe misunderstood or whatever, you said we had a 6-month contract with a service thing, but they won't come out because we have to renew another one before they'll come out? Am I misunderstanding?
No, I think it's an annual contract.
Right, but you said you still had 6 months left on it.
I think so, we haven't.
Do you know or not know? I
No,
mean, you
no,
should know
this is-
that
this is-
if you have a contract.
You want to play for me?
I mean,
Sure.
Sure. So I signed the contract when they came out, I believe it was May, so I think you're right, Dennis. I signed the contract on that third generator, and it was a 12-month contract. So the contract should be in place until the expiration.
and that's what I thought.
So why would they not?
I haven't reached out to them yet, sir.
Well, it's time.
Yes, sir.
Is that all you got for us, guys?
I got a quick water and sewer emergency PSA, basically. For water emergencies, broken mains, water flowing down the street, that's not obviously snow melt or runoff, or if your property freezes up, with broken lines, or you have no flow in your building, facility, whatever, well, we'll come out, respond, shut it off, and thaw it out. But a lot of properties do have shut-off valves inside the property, where the line enters the structure, and if you as the owner can shut it off that way, great. If not, we understand. We'll come out and try and shut you off as best we can. But if you have that capability, please try and utilize it if possible. And then on that note, we are not licensed plumbers with state, nor do we have the appropriate permits with the city council to perform plumbing related work within city limits. And so the property owner is responsible for any water damage and cleanup. So if you have issues, let us know, but sometimes that's on you guys. Once repairs are made, the property owner would need to schedule a turn back on, and that's done at City Hall at normal business hours. If we had to shut your service off. If you were able to shut it off on yourself, you know, and then turn it back on after repairs are made, great. Non-emergencies also include, water issues with it tasting funny, or it has a bad color, quality, smells weird, or it has debris in it. Let us know. We need to know that though in writing or emails. That way, you know, we're required to investigate within 7 business days and have a corrective action to the public within 30 days. But again, that's a non-emergency, so if you call us and say, hey, these are my issues, we'll say, thanks for letting us know. We'll get to you, you know, not on a weekend or normal business hours. Sewer emergencies, backups are emergencies, and we'd like to be notified if you have those issues. The majority of the time, backups happen, they're on service lines. But we'd also like to know so we can go and make sure that the city line is clear and it's not creating a problem for the public. And some non-emergencies on the sewer side are if you smell sewer gas, and usually that happens when your water trap dries out, and that happens a lot in winter months. And then again, written issues have to be addressed and kept on file for state compliance. So as long as you send us an email, a letter, whatever, let us know and we'll take care of it and make sure you aren't having issues. And that's all I've got.
Frank?
Sorry to bug you again. I understand the, don't do any licensed plumbing within the city.
Yes.
How about city properties? Can you work on city properties plumbing?
Technically not.
Technically, yes. You're in the water department, you should know how to cap a pipe or something. If there's a,
If it's the water department, if it's water lines that are the water's responsibility, but if it's, you know, inside a public building, we are not licensed plumbers.
even if the city owns it,
That is correct. We do not,
something needs
we do
to
not
change.
hold the proper, what do I wanna say, insurance?
For a city building.
Yes.
I'm thinking if that property down to the sheriff's station that needed to call a plumber in to cap a line, that's not rocket science. You guys are in the
Are not
water department,
plumbers.
you should be able to.
We do not
cap
have a plumbing
line.
license.
It wasn't just
You don't
the-
need a license to work on city property.
So if we do it wrong and we have issues, who's liable?
City, you are the city. That's my point. You are the city. You should be able to do city work on city stuff. You work on city plumbing up there.
But that's
Not by the
different
water
plumbing that we
department?
aren't trained to
No,
do in-house
you're
plumbing.
drawing a fine line. I just think that was wrong. That should have been capped, should have been costing the city a plumber charge for that. That's, sorry.
Thank you for your concern.
Yeah.
I believe it states in the city ordinance.
I appreciate it. Ronnie, what do you have for concern?
Ronnie Thompson. Okay. To address as far as the water shut off, and I know Mr. Edmond knows this, but like at my house, you're saying if there's a freeze,
Correct.
do you guys know where my shut off is at my house?
Not always. I mean, we'd have to
No,
look at
no,
a
I'm
map and
asking,
have an
do you
idea.
know where mine is?
I've got a map, I would look it up before I went out there and do my best to look.
Well, mine is on the corner of Paddock.
Yeah, I think I do know where yours is.
Okay,
It's by
So,
the garden.
there is kind of a clarification that I'm not responsible from the water shut off or the curb stop to my property line. But if you go out and measure it, and look at it, it goes underneath 2 driveways
Yes,
to my house.
correct.
So, I'm asking the council, if you haven't seen that paperwork, please look at it, because at one time they had the wrong address on it. They had me at 612 8th Street, which I'm 812 6th Street.
Ronnie, if you have a concern with that, would you come into City Hall and just make sure it's correct on?
Right, but I'm just
That
want,
would be more appropriate than.
right, I
but
just want
appreciate
people
your
to,
concern.
I just want you to know where my shut off is
No,
in
absolutely.
case,
Thank you.
so.
We'll go ahead and move on to, sorry, go ahead. Adam.
And I'm not aware of what Roy's talking about. I suspect he's probably right, we can work on city property.
Well, can I give you the example of what he's referring to? Because I know exactly what he's talking about. So the second water pipe basically burst at the sheriff's department a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. The shut off above the hot water heater, I was the one to shut that off, and we basically wanted to cut that line off, that copper line, and cap it there, so nobody could accidentally turn that on while anybody was going back there, because at this point, my understanding is nobody's ever gonna put a bathroom again in that building. If we do, then we just take the cap off, solder in the connection, we're fine, but the water guys were not able to go in there and do that. We had to hire a plumber to basically come in and cap that line and cap the cold water line in the other room, because it was a different line coming in from a different area of the building. But city property, sheriff's department is in there. I could understand if it was maybe Rhonda next door, just because she has a private business within there, but being public building, public contract, I don't know, that's what I believe he's referring to is. So just clarity on that as far as, could I guys do that or not, or do we have to continue to pay for
I
plumbing?
suppose it's up to these gentlemen. if they
Doesn't
wanna put their-
Currently, our ordinance states.
You have to have a
that we
plumbing
are not-
permit,
Yeah,
Kevin
but
actually
Captain
has,
Line might not do that.
Kevin, you actually have plumbing experience though, right?
Plumbing experience, I don't have a license.
Right. So if we're gonna use city employees, then Kevin would be the one.
The question is,
The
question is the city's assuming liability, so there's no liability. If there's a problem, there's a problem, it's on us. Roy's not wrong. If you wanna, that's up to the city, I guess. You know,
I'm just saying, as a taxpayer, I'm seeing that money wasted when our own people can,
if
that's all.
If it's a situation where you want it to be long-term solution, I would suggest a plumber.
And from what I understand.
If you're just
that
capping
was-
the line or you're turning it off at the curb stop, I don't care.
That was insurance that covered that kid.
yeah.
And there may be some coverage issues I don't know about, but it is on us if we don't fix it right. Let's go. But that's,
My
let's go.
understanding, the
Let's
first
go.
leak happened due to the council.
We're gonna be
That's,
closed.
that's
Thank
fine,
you.
let's just go move on, but
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. We'll go ahead and proceed to unfinished business from the preceding meeting. Number 6, discuss approve, disapprove retroactive purchase of 2005 Ford F-250 pickup with snowplow and Tommy lift for $14,995 even from Auto Trucks and More in Shadow, Nebraska.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Yes. Katie?
Yes.
New business. Number 7, disapprove, discuss, approve, disapprove, moving the agenda deadline to the preceding Wednesday before meeting to allow time for council to review materials and research if necessary. This is just for anyone dropping off items to be considered. So this is not when we'll be sharing them with council. We'll still share with council on Friday, the Friday before the meeting. But this is so that they have a little bit of a time frame to actually put together everything that's been submitted in a way that they can present it to the council, because otherwise they've had a 0 time frame in there, so.
Okay, I guess, so I'm the one that submitted this request, and my request, as I requested it, was that all submissions, public council, be submitted by Wednesday, final agenda be formatted Friday, so we have the weekend,
Right.
Monday and Tuesday. Okay, so I also wanted this, that, names be attached to each agenda item as far as council person or private member of the community, so we can basically try and reach out to that person, because I wouldn't know who half this stuff is. It makes it a lot easier. We had Roy's on here showing that he submitted something as an agenda request. I think the council should own their stuff. Public have a right to try and find them, question them before the council meeting, or answer to that. Was there anything else on this?
Just the supporting information, because we have that information when they submit it on the form, and as long as the form's, submitted within the packet, we should have that information. But as long as it's not a problem to have that within the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was requesting. I think it's only fair that the public knows who's putting the stuff out there, and that they can ask that person specifically, and council members. I mean, I don't know who puts this stuff on here, and I think it'd make it a lot easier to be able to communicate amongst each other a little bit more efficient.
Thanks, Rick. Do I have a motion?
So,
Second.
yeah.
Thank you. I have a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Also.
Thank you, Scott.
Gibby?
Yes.
DeBock?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 8, discuss approve, disapprove Edward Black Sheep's 47-cent raise for receiving his grade 6, right?
Grade 6.
Water, because I'm like, I feel like it should be 4, but okay, grade 6 water operator certification. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll
Thank you.
second it.
And a second.
Which one?
I'll second.
Dean?
Yes.
DeBock?
Yes.
Gibby?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes. Thank you for your continued education.
Absolutely.
9, discuss approve, disapprove fire and ice estimate for the well house heaters, for one for each, so one's for the gallery and one is for the south well.
Bid for the heaters, just so everybody knows, 2 heaters needed, each heater $500 a piece. So one's for the south well, one's for the infiltration gallery. I'll make a motion to approve it.
And just to clarify, that's labor included in those?
Yes, it does, bid includes all labor and materials needed to complete
Are
this
they still selling
installation.
these or no?
This printer, excuse me, this heater will produce up to 20,000 BTUs of heat.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
DeBock?
Yes.
Gibby?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes,
Dean?
Yes.
thank you. Number 10, discuss approve, disapprove advertising for seasonal park and cemetery help. Do I have a motion?
Can we post that, or postpone that till after number 24, please?
Wait till after number 24. Come back. Okay, number 11, discuss approve, disapprove the purchase of a 2023 20-foot HP trailer for street and parks department for $5,290. This would be a brand new trailer and not a used trailer.
I know I showed it to Kevin earlier, and you didn't have any issues with that trailer?
No, looks like a wonderful trailer for the right price.
Okay.
So with the dovetail on this, how, are we gonna be, running the risk of tearing up brand new mower decks?
It has ramps that slide in on the side that you can take out. You can either put it on the back or on the sides.
Okay, and those are at an angle.
I think it'd also be safer doing that than backing it up to a curb or to a hillside.
Awesome. Okay, Roy, you have a
Just
question?
curious, what's the axle weight on those?
It is a 10K.
So you got 5,000-pound axles,
Yep. It's 2
Yes.
dual axle.
tandem or dual?
It's tandem.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, 20-foot heavy-duty trailer, 10,000 GVW, bumper pull with 10-ply tires.
Plenty
This
good
was
for the
listed on the
coyote then.
Sorry.
Plenty good for coyote, not backhoe, but coyote.
I don't know exactly what the requirement or the weight on the backhoe is. I don't know width-wise, if we could get a backhoe on it just because of the fenders. That's, I guess, never really looked
It's
at.
an 8-foot trailer, bro.
As far as the coyote and the mowers, it,
Yeah.
all day long.
But it's 8 foot.
Yeah, it's exactly 8 foot wide,
Okay.
20 foot in length.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second
Thank you.
Roll call. Dean?
Yes.
DeBock?
it. Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Gibby?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 12, discuss approve, disapprove, approval of building permits for the following. First one would be Renee Calder at 103 Coates. She's requesting approval for the covered patio. Planning Commission only approved the patio at the rear of the house by the patio ending at the corner of her house. Commission denied the patio on the side of the house because she is at her setback limit on that side at 10 feet.
Make a
Questions?
motion to approve with,
Recommendations?
with, the commission's, recommendations. What they denied is, that's what we gotta go with.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Dean?
Yes.
DeBock?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes,
Gibby?
Yes.
thank you. Next, Paul Schimick, 510 Oak. This is broken into a couple. The first would be the Planning Commission approved the storage shed shown on diagram as lot. Must be cut off a little bit there.
I'll make a motion
motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Dean,
Yes.
DeBock,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Grant.
Yes. Okay, and the last of this, Paul Schimick, 510 Planning Commission is deferring to City Council to approve or deny the following request, the installation of a 60-foot wind turbine.
I'm gonna ask the council to take no action until I can talk to Mr. Schimick more about this issue.
Okay, thank you, Adam. And
I'll
Paul,
I'm gonna call you, Paul.
Oh, okay,
We'll
yeah,
talk.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
you had another item on that also, and that's something that we'll need to have you meet with the
Yeah,
mayor
the
and the
citizens-
street department
street,
first before we
yeah.
can consider it, so
Okay.
if you'd come back with that also, that would be great, thank you. Number 13, discuss, approve, disapprove annual library report presented by the Board of Trustees, Lisa Stockard, for Nebraska State Statute 51-213.
All right, once a year we do an annual report for the library. This year, section 1, all money received, credited, and expended. I just want to share with you, rather than read you the whole report, that this past year, the library collected $756 in print fees and $87 in library fines. So, it shows the use of the resources, that people are making use of the business resources. Then I want to come down to section 2, material circulated during the year, e-books via Libby. Last year 731, this year 1,549. We have doubled the use of the e-book service resource in the past year. Section 3, other stats, info, suggestions as the library board may deem of general interest. Number of visits to the library, last year 2,089, this year 4,999, that's a 58% increase. Computer use, last year was 273 people utilized the computers, this year 428. Also, children checkouts, including the e-books. Last year was 505 books, this year was 1,443, so we have doubled the number of kid books that have been checked out. And no, we didn't double the number of books we had in the library. And then also, the total open hours. We went from being open last year 1,210 hours, this year 1,506 hours. That's a 20% increase on open hours here at the library in the last year. 300 hours more than the previous year. And we were open 251 days. Turn the page. And I would like to bring to your attention the Friends of the Crawford Library this past year provided, and the Friends of the Library is the benevolence group. They are the ones who take charge of the donations and grants and such, and how they are utilized. So this year the Friends provided $5,100 to the purchase of the new furniture that's in the children's loft, the wonderful books that we now have, bookcases that we now have. They also took care of providing the charging station so that folks can charge their cell phones and whatnot while here, and $700 for presenters and supplies for the summer reading program. So that also shows public support of the library and the services provided to our community. Programs and events, I'm not going to read through all of it, but I am going to share that by the end of the summer program, 26 participants read 493 books, and of those, 18 participants were children who read 397 books. And that happened between the months of late May to early August. Also, during the last year, the attendance to programs and events was a total of 908. To the events and to community meetings, there were 671 attendees. So, in Ashley's math, we had 999 visits to the library last year. 18% of those were to programs and events. 14% of those were to meetings. And so 68% was patronage here at the library. So that is a definite increase over previous years. For the staff and volunteers, I'd just like to remind everybody that in January 2023, the Board of Trustees asked for a full-time librarian in response to the City Council's challenge that the library needed to provide more services to Crawford. More open hours, collaboration with the school, more technology and training services, and resources for family. I think Ashley's done a good job. So I won't read the whole paragraph. And add to that, this year, 12 volunteers recorded 486 volunteer hours of support. We will have a copy of this report available in the library. You also have copies, and thank you very much.
Thank you. We need to approve the report. Move on.
Could you hear me? Yes. Okay.
Okay. Discuss, approve, disapprove the library board of trustees, newly appointed board member, Barb Moody Richards. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Wonderful.
Dean?
Yes.
Sabah?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Welcome. Number 15, discuss, approve, disapprove park boards, newly appointed board member, Lee Miller.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you.
Sabah?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you and welcome. 16, discuss, approve, disapprove the SDL at the Crawford Community Building at 135 Main. Excuse me, that is incorrect. Okay. The Crawford Community Building at 135 Main for the, and that would be, that just needs to be updated. I think it's
She changed.
1005 First Street is what
City
the address
council
is.
just got notified like
Yeah.
this afternoon
I
that
think-
it's the wrong
I think
building
that's
for
just
the
for the
address.
tailgate. So this is the, so it's gonna be the tailgate bar serving this fundraiser at the Crawford Community Building, which I think is
1005
at Main Street, or First Street. From 3 p.m. on March 15th, 2025 to 1 a.m. on March 16th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Sabah?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Thank you. 17, discuss, approve, disapprove the SDL at the Crawford Community Building at 1005 First Street for Diamond Jack's Corner Bar for the American Legion Convention from 9 a.m. on March 22nd, 2025 to 1 a.m. on March 23rd, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you.
Sabah?
Yes.
Kenny? Grant?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 18, discuss, approve, disapprove repairing and cleanup of the balloon building for use, to use for city equipment and vehicle storage, requested by Roy Norgard.
I was out looking at the balloon building and I see a great opportunity for us. You know, that we're purchasing equipment, we wanna keep care of our equipment. We've had in the past issues with grader tires deteriorating, hoses, so forth. That would be a great opportunity for the city to put a little money into that building and have a building for us to store our equipment in. Looking at it, it needs, of course, there's some panels on top that need some new screws in it, and there's one panel, skylight, that's gone. With one panel and a little screws and some labor, and there's some junk in there a little bit, that could probably be used very efficiently for our own city equipment and protecting it from the weathers. So,
And it's done.
I know it's
I'm
full
not
of
sure.
pigeons and stuff right now.
Are we aware if it has
Easy
power
fix.
or not?
No.
There is power there.
I don't think so.
There is power
There
there.
is power at that building.
It's just not turned on.
There's been power there for 30 years.
It is full of pigeon excrement.
Yep, that's part of the cleanup idea.
Is that a hazard concern?
No.
Just an idea for the city to save their equipment and use a building to its advantage.
Thank you, Roy.
I have a concern with the building. I've been in it 5 years ago. When you guys had the auction out there, that's the last time I was in that building, and the trusses are all drooping. And I think that it's gonna, we can look into it, but I think it's gonna take a lot more money than just a few panels. I think it needs a whole new truss package. And anybody's welcome to go out and look at it and tell me I'm wrong, but that's what I remember seeing when I was out there.
I will go out tomorrow. I'll make time to go out there and actually take pictures, take information and send it to the rest of the council. That way we can all look at everything.
I don't think it's in any means the shape the fire hall's in, if that's what you're referring to, but it's a good, it's not like people are gonna be in it except to get the equipment in
It's
it.
just a storage shed.
Yeah.
I think we need to look at all options since we no longer have the fire hall, but we just got a bunch of equipment, the maintenance shed needs, you know, we need to look at some for that in the next couple of years here. We're just running out of property that's usable around there, so.
The other one, it would be possibly a good spot to store the golf court, or golf carts during the off season.
So
We'll just look at the building and then.
when Dalton was the superintendent, he looked at storing golf carts in there, and he told me he thought it was, the roof on that was one heavy snow from collapsing. So,
Well, thank you for agreeing to look into that, and Roy, thanks for bringing it to our attention. We'll go and move to 19. Discuss, approve, disapprove renewal of 2 Security First Bank 7-month CDs. These are CDs that have been, we've already had 7 months on them and they've matured. And we're looking at whether or not we want to continue that or we want to renew them for another 7 months at a better offer. If we don't take this, or if we choose to leave them alone, they automatically renew, but it's only for 6 months and it's at a declined offer, so.
What are the amounts on these?
I don't have the specifics of it. I don't know if they were presented here in the packet. I think the previous percentage was 5.5 that we're coming off of, and I think if we renew annually at another 7 month, it's approximately 4.5. If we go for 6 months, I think it's, I think the percentage is down to 3.
Dollar amount.
Each one of these CDs have approximately $10,000 in them, so they're.
Yeah, started, beginning balance 10,309, ending balance 10,573. So we gained almost $300 in interest on these.
And that's just for the 7 months.
My recommendation at this time, as far as I'm concerned, is we don't put them back into a CD. We're over $630,000 in debt with the villa. I just got updated information. It's another $100,000+ from the last time we got notified. I don't think we put anything back into investment. I don't think we pay off any other debt. When we get the $225,000 from the towers, I think we sit back and hold our money as tight as we can to our chest until we as a community decide what we're gonna do with this villa. Because we cannot move forward on anything until we identify what we're gonna do with the debt. I looked, $600,000 loan, from what I understand, the bank won't give it to us anyway, but if we're somehow able to get a $600,000 loan, it's $50,000 a year for 20 years. So do the math on that, we're gonna lose, but I don't wanna put anything back into that we can't immediately cash out without a penalty, because we don't know what's gonna happen in another month or two. I don't wanna spend it for, reinvesting yet.
Thank you. Ashley?
Ashley Black Sheep, Crawford. I just wonder, I'm curious if the CDs are particular to a department at all.
I think it specifies,
They're spread out between departments with the 3 CDs that we actually have a certain percentage.
So just equally.
Percentages.
There's percentages, I can't tell you right now what's what, but,
Do you remember which departments are just all?
gosh, some goes to garbage, general, water, sewer, I'd have to have it in front of me.
I would have no problem like reinvesting in the ones that are allocated to specific outside of general or the villa. Like, I don't have any problem reinvesting that, but if it's open to free use, then hold on to it.
We need to make a decision before February 15th, otherwise you have to automatically take 6 months at a lower percentage rate. So if you decide not to make a decision tonight, it'll automatically roll into a 6 month at a lower rate. So we either need to decide to cash out or take it for another 7 months, and an increased rate would probably be, I guess there's 3 options.
My choice is to cash out, see where the money needs to be allocated for what departments, anything left for general fund or villa, leave it alone. We're ending every time we can get possibly here very soon if one company sues us.
You can cash out a CD with a penalty.
but they're due, they're mature,
Yeah,
so there's no penalty
But
at
if you
this point.
renew them.
I know, that's what I'm
If you
saying,
did- yeah, if you
I
did
don't wanna
need to, you could
reinvest
take the
general fund
penalty.
money with the possibility that in 2 months we're gonna have to take about to try and pay back all these people we owe money to. That would be my motion, was to cash out, and reinvest to the allocated, for the allocated departments, anything general funds to the side.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Eddie,
Yes.
DeBock,
Yes.
Grant,
You said that we're gonna cash out and put it in the corresponding departments, correct?
Yeah, cash out, anything left, like anything that's general funds or that it can be used to pay any of this debt down possibly, and let's just wait a month or two, see what happens, and
So the motion is
Is one of
split
those the
amount in
libraries,
each department,
CD?
the rest be in general.
but not in a CD form, yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, that's simple, okay, yes, I'll agree to that.
Debbie,
Yes.
DeBock,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Okay, number 20, discuss approve, disapprove, setting a required fire hydrant testing and maintenance schedule.
I'll take a hit on this one. You know, and actually asked me this question earlier, and everything before the meeting even started. With everything that's going on out in Los Angeles with fire hydrants not working, and knowing that our fire hydrants haven't been tested, we don't know the last time they have been tested. It's probably, I guess, critical at this point that we find a schedule, we make a schedule, that way we can verify all of our fire hydrants in town are operational, they function, we can identify any fire hydrants that need replacement. So that's why this is on the table for tonight. I would ask Dennis, you're our class 1 operator, what is your input? Class 3, what is your input?
My input is this should be directed by the mayor to the water department. In my opinion, it's comes down to the mayor telling us you need to do this.
It is
This time of year.
What's the
It's fair for
recommended
the
flushing
community to
of
bring
the
this up,
hydrant?
but what are your, he's asking for your concerns about the schedule.
Dennis told us a couple meetings ago, every 6 months they should be
Right.
flushed.
Done. But
Right, so it's fair
it
to
comes
know your
down
position on the
to
schedule.
manpower and
Sure.
time. The priority, you know, what is the priority of projects we have on our plates this time? You want pumps installed in the water plant, you want hydrants flushed, you know, we can do it, it's just, it's hard to tell us when and where, who, how, why, without actually giving us priorities of what needs done and manpower to do it.
Asking you to create a schedule is not,
No,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah, no,
unreasonable,
we can
so
create
that's
a
why we're
schedule.
asking for your input right
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
So that is not unreasonable,
No, I'm not saying it's not.
you're alluding to that,
No,
so let's not get there.
Oh, no, I'm not trying to.
So,
Yeah, we can
when
get you a
looking at
schedule.
that, how would you like to break down a maintenance schedule, or what would you like to see, or how would you like to proceed with that? I'm asking for your opinion, so we can take that into consideration.
And they don't necessarily have to be all done like in a week.
Yeah, no.
You could pick whatever number and say, hey, we're gonna do this many.
Currently, we have a schedule
every morning
in
or whatever.
one of our 2 and 10 year plans that says, like, we're gonna do 3 a day for 23 days.
Perfect, do you
So-
feel like is that something that's workable, or that's
I
something that
think
you
so.
can do?
I
Or would you
think-
like
I
to see it
think so.
adjusted to something different?
We would try and do something like that.
So you're comfortable with proceeding with something very similar?
I think so.
We have been
Okay.
working on it, we are pulling up
That's
old
good enough.
records. We're looking for the old records, we're pulling up old digital data that was in the computers from before. We're looking through all of our paper records.
Sure.
We did find a few tentative schedules in old 2 and 10 year plans. We are trying to put something together. We have been, it's not front burner per se, but it's not something we're not working on at all.
Understandable, it's just
we-
it's a
we would
concern that
also-
comes up, and I
yes.
wanna make sure that
No,
if
absolutely.
we need to change what's been expected in the past, that we have the opportunity to do so. But if we don't need to, because you're comfortable with what it is or what's expected of you now, that we're okay with keeping it in place.
I wanna say that we have about 67, 68 fire hydrants. And recommendation is that we need to flush them, 30 minutes apiece. So, you know, there's quite a bit of man hours there.
And I understand man hours, Dennis, but I think at this point where we don't know the last time that they've been tested, and The fact we don't know how many of them are out of condition, how many won't work, I think is kind of critical at this point. We have to put something in place. I don't want a building in town to catch on fire and our fire department go to the fire hydrant and find out it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, we cannot do that. I mean, that's a huge problem.
100%.
And if you do find them inoperable, then we need to, get with Brian Prosser and figure out some way to mark them.
Yeah, that would.
But in the meantime, while we're making plans to get them fixed, so that they don't roll up and hook up to one that doesn't work.
I guess that would lead me to my question. Per the state requirements, we're supposed to have them pressure tested, all lines pressure tested every 5 years, is that correct? And submit that report to the state?
Not as I know on the water department side of things. If this is.
Well, you're the only one that can do it, the fire department can't do it, you're the one that has to.
I
either
haven't
hire
seen those
somebody
regulations.
or
If you
keep it
show
on
me those
schedule.
regulations, I will look into them. I do not have any information on that regulation.
And
It's not a part of our list of record keeping that we have to have. There's nothing that has.
If you would show me that regulation, I
Fire
would
hydrant or
be very
valve
grateful.
exercise.
Just forward that to City Hall.
We
That way
do
can
know
follow
that we
up
need
on
to
it.
exercise the valves as well, so I mean, this is.
I think in the future, I think we need to include this in our record keeping.
Absolutely.
That way the city knows, you know, say we identify 10 fire hydrants that need replacement, 10 that are, you know, possibly going bad. We can get the first 10 done immediately, you know, we can come back in 6 months later, get the next 6 done, however it be, but we need to make a record of it.
Absolutely. What kind of timeline are you looking to do? Is it?
Okay, what I was looking at, and again, I'm just asking, is the month of April or the month of May, do all fire hydrants. And then in September, do them again, okay?
We would probably try to attempt April,
Okay,
and see if we could get some help from the park guys. I know their month of May is pretty darn busy getting the cemetery ready for that.
I would agree.
So I would shoot for April, but again, that's weather dependent.
Okay, so April and then September, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think we could probably try and make September work.
Okay,
Okay, so what we can do from here is we can go ahead and pull out the 2 to 10 year plan, see what's in there, have it compared to what we have already as far as the maintenance schedule, see if there's something that it changes for what we have for requests within what we already have set up. And if we do need to make those changes, we can bring those back to the next meeting and
I mean, this is
respond to
just
those.
flushing, this isn't even
Correct.
an actual test. I mean, these are
Well-
just flushing, how long does it take to flush the hydrant?
30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay,
What's
so,
recommended?
and I've seen Crawford has anywhere from 73 to 85 hydrants, so we need more than 20 days if you're only gonna do 3 a day. These, like, I mean, if we don't even know how many hydrants we have, we're in pretty bad shape at this point. So, we need to know how many hydrants we have. We need to know, if you want me to look, I'll find out, I'll call the fire marshal, the state fire marshal, but I believe it's once every 5 years. You have to do a complete pressure test, and that's basically 3, as we read it.
yeah, I believe.
You have to have a
it's
3
pressure test
sector
every 5
hydrant,
years.
and to test the lines, if somebody else knows in public, like, I see you nodding, if you know.
We
more
looked up
about it.
some of the general information this morning, and
Just to
if I
see where
remember,
we're
it is
at.
every 5 years, they have to be pressure
The
tested.
flushing is the easy part, that we need to test, you said that you thought there were 6 or 7, a couple, 3 years ago.
Kevin is the last one that I know of that is,
I know
you worked
Colorado
with
statutes.
Gene for a little bit.
So, I mean, we'll look into it, we'll help you as much as we can, but, I mean, we need to identify how many hydrants we have to start with, I guess.
This is
Right.
something you would like to have.
That sounds fair.
So
Just
right-
Please. I need a hand. I'm starting the back, Ronnie, please.
I believe it was the first year that he came on that they started testing, but before that I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Norgard, that, we had them in our council meetings and they weren't tested for the last 12 years before that, am I correct? It was something in that effect, it was, area. As far as your 5 year, if I remember correctly, every 5 years, yes. But that's also with the water department getting with the, fire chief. So the fire chief can also have a few of his guys help. Yes, sir, you're
No,
wrong.
he
man.
just checked with the state fire marshal, the
They
fire-
they can help if they volunteer.
No, they can't.
Uh, we
Brian
were told
Prosser
that.
just checked with the state fire marshal, they are
Okay.
not allowed to assist, because if anything breaks, they're held liable. If they do something incorrectly, they're held liable, so no, at this point, they can't. That's-
I'm sorry, Liz, go ahead.
I'd be glad to stand, but it takes me too long to eat up. Ann Stevens, Crawford. I don't know rules, regulations, I don't know anything, but listening to the early comment about costs the city might incur for this, that, these, and those, that brought my question to mind after I watched what was happening in California. If we don't know where they are, if they work, if, God help us, something burns and somebody gets hurt, the city's gonna pay through the nose. And so,
If we know that they're not functioning, which we need to know.
that's what I mean, the city's gonna pay for
Once
it.
we're
Well,
on
right
notice-
now, we don't know.
Once we're on notice that they're not functioning,
Well, even if
we have to fix it.
Even if we haven't had a proper pressure test and they end up
If
not
there
working,
hasn't been something
if
submitted,
we
I
haven't
would
met
think.
city guidelines, then we'll still be held liable.
Did you have something?
So all you're asking is for them to make some kind of book or recording of how many they are. Are they numbered, or do you just say they're on this intersection,
Just
this intersection?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
the most of what I found is there are certain records of, they tried to address them at one point in time, they do give, corners and everything like that. It's real hodgepodge, half of it's on the computer, some of it's in the filing cabinet, trying to sit down and put it all together and come up with something, if I could just get a little bit of time to put it together and come back to you if you want 2 weeks. We'll make it one of our.
So probably the simplest thing would just be to have a city map and red X is on
No,
everywhere there's a
no,
fire.
I do have a city
start.
map that has markings of valves and fire hydrants, but not everything is 100% accurate. I'm not entirely sure when the last time it was updated. So we do the best with what we have at the moment. And we are looking into updating all of that as well in the coming months.
I think the ask is in 2 weeks, let's have a report, see where we're at, and go forward.
Yeah. Can I have a motion to move forward with gathering data and what we can find with what we have for current records, records that we want to attain, stuff, what we want to work towards, and that way we can have it all compiled to work towards something here in the next 2 weeks.
And we're more than willing to accept any of that information if you wanted to email it to us.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second that, as long as the information is brought forth at the very next council meeting.
But we
And
wanna
at that
go for
council
that.
meeting, we move forward.
Yeah, we want it before that, so we can
Okay.
potentially put something together. Yeah, that'd be great. So I've got a first and a second. Judy?
Yes.
Yvonne?
Yes.
Grant? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. 21, discuss, approve, disapprove, hiring an electrician to troubleshoot, repair the anode and installing corrosive resistant wiring inside of the water plant. Is that still how you originally intended that with what you had today?
We
Finance
talked to
needs be
Jared
adjusted.
just this evening,
Right.
before we came down here a couple hours ago, and he let us know that Councilman Dean's grandfather is highly knowledgeable in grounding buildings and whatnot.
Do you want to table it
We
for
wanted
this time
to,
and
we
bring
wanted
this
to
up
look
next?
into other options as
Sure.
opposed to just the anode that we have, something more permanent and maybe having to, isolate a little bit more equipment from. So we do have some talk in the works, yes.
He was gonna do some more research for us.
Okay, so let's no action at this time then, please.
Can we have it put on the next agenda? This is something that for 3 months, Tony and I, 3 months ago, we're trying to get this on the agenda and looked at it, and it's still nowhere. We're literally nowhere closer to this than we were back then.
I would agree that we need to have it on the next agenda.
Those dates are getting.
Well, no action does not mean that it's not
Can
going to be
we-
taken
I
action.
know,
No
can
action
we-
means that it will be moved to the next agenda. That's how that applies.
We have a lot of things that seem to go with no action, and then we
Well, I
don't.
can only have control of the meetings
You
I
can
have.
make a motion to table that it has to come back.
No, we'll switch it to a table then, please.
But you
I'll
need
make a motion to table it till the next meeting.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Number 22, discuss, approve, disapprove county electric quote to replace 8 light fixtures and accessories in the water treatment plant.
I make a motion to postpone this because I found out that there's 3 more lights that aren't included in this because the batteries were dead on the testers that the electrician was gonna use to test all the lights. So this is an incomplete, basically estimate or quote at this time.
Well, this is just a quote for those specific.
There's 3 more lights.
The other 4 lights were on, what, the west side that still needed to be quoted out?
There were 6 lights, interior, 2 lights exterior and the accessory is on the quote, I believe.
Right.
The 2 lights on the south side of the building need to be, we're going to be replaced first to ensure that they weren't too bright or they weren't gonna cause any issues with highway traffic. I believe that's on the quote.
Okay, what are the 3 remaining lights?
What 3 remaining lights?
I know you said there was 5 total outside lights that needed to be replaced.
There are 5 lights on,
Perimeter of the building.
there are 5 lights on the exterior of the building
Okay.
that we would like to have replaced over time, yes, absolutely.
So 3 more.
We have 1 burnt out, like, if we just wanna replace what's burnt out, I've got 3 burnt out inside, 1 burnt out outside, and we need our Mickey Mouse ears and our exit lighting fixed.
Okay, let me ask this, the exterior lights that still will need to be replaced, are those critical at this time?
The 2 on the south side of the building, we decided were the most important.
Okay,
because
and those
it
are
is-
on here.
Those are on that quote.
Okay.
And there's 3 remaining outside.
There will be 3 remaining on the outside of the building. They do currently work, yes.
So,
I would make a motion to approve it.
so are these 2 exterior ones broken? Are we updating to low energy? What is the purpose? I guess, what are the 2 outside that are different from the other 3? Why are we not?
They're
doing-
currently halogens, and they will be upgraded to LED wall packs.
Like, can we get all 5 done during the same process and save us?
The issue is exactly what Edward said, that, these need to be experimented with because of the close proximity to the highway.
They're too.
These wall packs put out some light, and
So what happens if these are too bright? Do we get a refund?
then don't do it.
It's a question. It's a legitimate question. We're gonna spend the money if we don't even know that they're gonna work.
You're not
Like,
spending the money, you're only approving the ones that they're gonna use right away, you're not spending the money on the ones that they're not testing.
The plan was to replace the 2 on the south side of the building. 1, it's because where we enter the building, where we park our cars, it's where we're gonna be most of the time entering the building, it's where our unit is and everything like that, our storage unit. We wanna see and make sure that they're not gonna be washing out the highway, which is why we're not just gonna replace them all, so we wanna make sure, cause if the 1 is washing out the highway that's closest to the highway, then we can step forward and maybe we can move that to the back side of the building where it's just lighting up the hill, and we can address that light in a future bid, and maybe put dimmer lights on the 2 highway facing, 3 highway facing lights, and step forward, so.
I'll second the motion to approve.
Zach?
Yes.
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 Number 23, discuss, approve, disapprove, having an electrician check breaker box out at the golf course clubhouse and make repairs if necessary.
This is something we have to do, because
Before the
earlier
season
this
starts.
year during Shane's wedding, they had fans out there trying to keep the breaker box cool, and it still kept tripping breakers,
Okay.
so.
Now, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Debbie?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Yes. Steve? Thank you. Number 24, discuss, approve, disapprove hiring a a water plant and wastewater plant labor.
Skip, do you wanna talk on this one? I know we talked earlier about it.
Well, I think that we have, 2 full-time, we have 1 full-time park employee and another floater, and I think we're pretty heavy on, excuse me, on labor. We're 1 employee over what we've had in the city, in previous years. I think we need to utilize the help that we already have.
I know
There's not a lot of park stuff that can be going on this time of year, right?
Yeah, I know you brought up the idea of having our park employees go to school and get water operator qualified.
So that they can be in the facility, yeah.
That way we'll also have more people to rotate for weekends. Once those guys are up to speed, they're trained, they're qualified, and you sign off on it, obviously. That way we can keep you guys fresher, so it's not you guys rotating every week. But the idea that we increase their quals, so you guys have additional help that can come up there, and at least they have the knowledge at that point to assist.
No, so let's kind of get some of this out of here because I keep hearing everything secondhand since there's not adequate communication through everybody, but my understanding is you don't want certain people in unless you guys know who they are, have trained them yourselves or something along that lines, like, do you trust them, like there's a trust issue or something because it's your license?
It's a controlled access facility.
What's that?
It's a controlled access.
Yeah, I understand, that's why I'm asking you,
Yep.
because I've heard that, so us sending, from what I've heard, that you said that 2 people were sent up there in the last week or 2 weeks, and they were turned away for help. So,
Nobody has come up for help.
okay, so this is where we need to talk, because I hear one thing and I hear another, and so let's get it out here right now.
I know it has been brought up that multiple people were offered to go to the water plant, and those multiple people were told to go away. Is that not true?
That's got no phone calls.
But I also have talked to you, and you said that you don't want anybody coming up and helping, because if you get called out to do a meter, you have to kick them out.
Well, I
So
gotta
what's
say,
the
the
point of
maintenance,
having them if they don't?
at that point, it would be more useful if we actually had an employee
I understand that,
that we were training.
I agree with you, I understand, what we're trying to identify is issues that certain council members have. And one of them being is that we have somebody that works at the golf course, that used to work in the water treatment plant, that is out there getting paid but not working on the golf course right now.
Yeah, we've never.
We have 2
We've
other
never
employees
seen her
that
apply.
have the opportunity to come and help you, but from my understanding is you don't want them, and or if they come up there, you're gonna kick them back out. You
No,
don't
it's
trust
more
them.
that if we train them, it'd be nice to train them full-time, that they could be with us full-time and know the whole job. Most
We
times,
don't
we're
have
gonna take
that
them out.
opportunity to have anybody trained full-time to be only your assistants. We're small enough and we're already one man over. We need to be able to share help throughout the city. So that's,
I can agree with that
you can't
partly.
pull somebody else out of another department to get full-time training.
I can agree with that partly, and I have to disagree with that partly. Currently, our sewer license states that we need to have 2 dedicated sewer employees. A designated operator and an assistant operator. And the same goes for the water plant. You need to have a designated operator and a sewer operator. And they're not supposed to be overlapping guys. It's supposed to be 2 here and 2 here.
Well, I can tell you right now, the finances are not going to allow that.
And I understand that. I'm saying that our licenses currently state we need 2 here and 2 here. We're not in compliance.
So how do we help you if we can't hire labor? How do we help you if you don't want the help that we're trying to offer, but yet then when we ask.
I'm not saying we don't
Let me
want
finish, and then when we ask questions of why it's been 3 months and this still isn't any closer to what we talked about 3 months ago. Like, there's things to be done. You guys are out reading meters. I mean, you don't want that help?
That was a huge issue that we had the last couple of months. We had a technology faux pas, and I don't think having a park employee try and do that work would have been any more successful than it was.
Two guys, you guys couldn't train 2 guys to read meters.
Well, then I'm still just holding his hand and doing it myself. Like, we had a problem where we're out there searching for meters, we're reading our maps, we're doing everything we can. I don't wanna put that on a park guy, that's not fair to them. Does that make sense?
Can they read all the meters up to the one they have a problem locating?
Yeah.
It's essentially put it in the pickup and drive around town, right?
No, it was open up all the meters, it was locate the meter pits.
But that's
open
not
them up,
every
tear them
month, right?
apart, read them down.
No, we
It was,
got that.
it was about a fourth of the,
Okay,
a
you
fourth
got
of
that
the whole
fixed,
system.
okay, then why?
In this
Well,
last
now,
month,
no,
we're talking about?
in this last month, we're gonna try and have a
That's
park guy do it
today,
this month.
this month.
But last month
What's
when
the
we
plan?
read it was FUBAR, and we had to get out and you had to go and locate each meter pit and read it manually. And to train a new guy to do that, I've been on the job for 7 years, and I know probably where 90% of the meter pits are. He's been on the job for 6 months, he could probably tell you 10%. Because we've been doing radio reads for so long,
It
that
takes time.
he doesn't know where most of them are. If you haven't actually gone out and walked every single one of them, you aren't gonna know where they're at. So I could train some new guys, but it's gonna take a while for them to know exactly where every meter pit is. Just like Ronnie was saying, where's my shut off at? You guys don't know? Well, I know. Not right off the top of my head, but I get an idea, but nobody else probably does. And it's gonna take a while to train these guys.
And they're not all the same, some of them are meter pits in the ground, some of them are meter.
Some of this stuff shouldn't be by training, some of it should be because we're documenting it. We should have maps updated.
We should have GPS of where every meter pit
Like,
is.
It'd be lovely to have that, but you don't. It costs money, it costs time.
Well, that's been an issue in this town for a long, long time, that, nothing, we don't know where anything is. And so as we're going around, we gotta go clean out a meter pit, then we need to figure out how to put a pin on a map.
Well,
where this
that was the
stuff
plan
is.
as we work with our ditch witch and we're finding all these meter pits and actually cleaning them out and then finding where all the curb stops are and actually painting them blue and
So what would it take to
marking them out.
build a map, to where you can drop a pin off your phone onto the map?
Training and technology.
Training for
Well, not training, well, I mean, you wanna.
To the software for that?
Why the map in the box of pins? Like, we're not trying to be.
Well, I mean, you were saying on
sarcastic,
your phone,
it's like
right?
Well,
Yeah, like a digital copy, I mean,
anything.
yeah.
Either copy, but I worry you guys are getting lost in the weeds here, because you're talking about the hours it's gonna take to train employees that are already familiar with the city. No, they don't know the specifics of the sewer and whatnot, and what you're referring to is the rare occurrence where you've got a snafu with the software, and it does take longer. If that happens, then yes, they're not gonna be ideal to help you out that month, but with all the other 11 months of the year, if that helps free you up to do work up at the water plant, then it is reasonable for you guys to train them enough so that they can help you in that manner, so that way we have better care across the city, cross cover. So it's not a point of more training and getting lost in the weeds with the specifics of all the impossibles of what might happen and what could happen. If you need help, then you need to start at the bottom. You need to start with the simple stuff that you can hand off and make it easy, but you need to help yourself in the sense that you need to be open to that. Correct.
We absolutely discussed that today
Okay,
about getting.
well, just a moment ago, you were telling us that it was
Kevin
impossible to let
or
the park guys to come in to do this because sometimes you guys have issues and it all goes down. So the concern is, let's try and make it happen when we don't have problems. If you do have a problem, it's obvious that they're not gonna be able to be ideal to help you on those days, but on the days you don't have problems, you should be able to use them and have help with those, correct?
Yeah, and we're.
So we understand, we have an agreement on that from both sides.
Yes.
Thank you.
And it was just only a year ago that you had 0 time off over the holidays because you were the only operator.
Correct.
So why don't we get more operators? We have,
I'm okay with that, 100%.
so can you find it out when the next class is so that we can send a couple more guys?
Yeah, we've been.
Nobody's taking your job.
No, we're looking for that training schedule, cause we still need to.
They
get
usually send it out
our
the first
qualified
month of the
persons.
year.
And it sounds like we need to send somebody to the sewer class.
That is also the plan.
Okay. Ronnie, sorry, Ronnie, please.
Okay. You're arguing about, you know, people not wanting another people on and so forth and so forth. It's not. That's a problem by itself. But when you got people that have, quote, have worked for the city and or been to classes in their past, why don't you use them? These guys will have to eat part of that, and if they have a problem with that person, don't go to that person and say, we don't want you here. Go to the council or the mayor so it can be dished out. That's the way to do it instead of having a little bickering going on like we just had. That's where it comes down to. We work together, it's not I.
Thank you, Ronnie. Ashley?
Ashley Blacksheep, Crawford. I just have a curiosity question about, from an employee's perspective, employees were told en masse at one point that working outside of one's department required department head approval and the mayor's direct approval. Is that how this would proceed if there were interdepartmental laborers
Yes.
helping each
It would
other
need
out?
to. Correct.
Well, I believe that Augie
Thank you.
was hired as a interdepartmental, was he not?
General labor, that's his title.
Right, not specifically for the park.
And that may be something that we look at in the future, that we hire anybody that's not a supervisor as general. So we can utilize them in the departments that we need to utilize them throughout the year, because during the winter, we have several employees that can be utilized better than what we're utilizing them as, and paying them unnecessarily to not do the work they're supposed to. So that's that's something to take under advisement. There's nothing in, put in motion, but in the future.
So no action on that, on number 24? Oh, okay, so we wanted to go back to after, number 10 after 24, so no action on 24, come back to 10. 10, discuss, approve, disapprove advertising for seasonal park and cemetery hall, please.
Well, I can start off with the grand scheme of things, start numbers, and then start breaking it down for everybody. Per week of what we do to maintain things here in town is 226 hours per week. It can be done with 2 guys, but you're looking at things being skipped over. There again, we're looking at weather. If it's raining, things are gonna grow more. We have quite a bit of irrigated sections that we have. We do water down in our park also with hoses. That takes a lot of time. Cemetery, mowing, trimming, that's hopping on mower, getting behind a trimmer, is 110 man hours. It's 55 man hours to trim it, another 50 man hours to mow it. For the park, we got 24 man hours to trim, 24 man hours to mow, so that's 48 hours right there. Ball fields, visitor center, right of ways, pool, Peabody, Fire Hall, Tree Park, White River Trail, library, First Street, that's 68 hours right there. We also take care of the gallery, South Wells, water plant, sewer plant, street shop. That's 64 hours. That's about 2 days for a crew of 4 to take care of all 3 of those, and that's as needed. We're talking about herbiciding everything this year. And then there's a ton of intangibles that go into this. Upkeep on the equipment, you know, building maintenance, we're doing aeration, tree upkeep, repairs to the water systems, upgrades to the water systems, mowers going down. We also took over the viaduct down here last year, tried to keep that somewhat upkept, cleaning that place up. Also the entrance to the park on the north side there, we take care of that. You're looking at 6 hours for the viaduct, the entrance to the park. That's for one guy. If you have three dudes down there at the viaduct, of course it takes 2 hours to do it. So these are man hours. We are being voluntold that we're gonna be taking care of the rodeo grounds and the Wachipi grounds. You know, I just, right offhand, that's gonna be 32 hours, just do the rodeo grounds right there. And that's gonna be a full day for 4 dudes to do that, and that's just the bare minimum. We have 3 events scheduled right now. That's not including, you know, the weddings that we might have down in the park, different type of things, or like I said, you know, things that come up during the summer that we have to address. So we need help. That's
Sure.
what I'm asking for.
Sure, that all sounds
So
like
how
great
many-
information, Kevin.
How many seasonals are you asking for?
Ideally 4, but if we can get 2 and keep 2 for the summer. As far as I know, we have a returning guy from last year that will be coming back, and if we could add 1 more on top of that, we could hit the ground running when the season starts, which is gonna be very soon.
So with the
And
big
that's-
mower, that could change some of your
And that's the
numbers.
thing, these are numbers taken off of what we had with our 60s last year, running our 60s, and DOE, which isn't that fast or efficient. So I'm hoping these times get dropped down, and at the end of the summer, or maybe after a month, I can tell you what it takes to take care of all of our projects that we have around town and everything, but right now. And I know it will be quicker than what I have here, but how much quicker, is yet to be seen, so.
Sure, well, thank you for that insight. Today we only have on here just advertising for the seasonal park and cemetery home. We won't advertise that we're looking to
How
fill
many?
a specific number of roles, where this is just to advertise in general. So we will take that all into consideration and work with Shane to make sure that we can try and figure out the appropriate coverage for your department. So thank you, Kevin. Can I get a motion to approve advertising, please?
I'll approve it.
Thank you, do I have a second? Thank you. Rebecca?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we are back on the second page. Number 25, we need to table that until the next meeting. Following the 26 tabling to the next meeting, and 27 tabling to the next meeting.
Motion to table 25, 26, and 27.
Thank you. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Dean?
Yes.
Devon?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Grant?
Yes, thank you. We are now to number 28, sorry. My line went too long. Let me read that correct. Number 28, discuss, approve, disapprove allowing Panhandle Public Health District, Kelsey Sassy, to develop a strategic plan for the city.
What was the exact number on the price again?
853, I think.
Yeah, it's like 835 or 853.
I think, and this is me, I think we need to identify 3 of our top projects and get those on a plan sometime. I mean, seems like here lately, we're running, without a plan. Maybe if we get a plan, maybe that will help, get things reeled back in and smooth out some of the bumps that we're having, so I would make a motion to approve it.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Devon,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes,
Dean.
Yes.
thank you. Number 29, approve bills, claims, and requisition orders and transfers. I believe there's three.
So
Do I have
moved.
a motion? Thank you. A second? Thank you.
So, not here, either one.
Great.
A motion?
Or,
And a give you, no, sorry, yes, for a second.
Devon,
Yes.
Grant,
Yes,
Debbie.
Motion to adjourn.
thank you. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Dean?
Yes.
Devon?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
She got my email.